Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm sharing with you top 10 DIYs to decorate your home like a pro. These are DIYs that I have made using either hardware store materials, dollar store materials, thrifted items, or things I had laying around the house. A lot of them are high-end dupes, and I love to use them to decorate my home. So for this first one that we're starting off with is this giant lantern that I had made a couple years back, and I had purchased several different sizes of wood. I had purchased a 1 by 10, 2 by 10, 1 by 2 by 8, and 1 by 10 by 4. I had cut my 1 by 10 by 4 into 2 10 by 10 pieces, and then I had cut 1 by 2 by 8 into 4 5¼ pieces and 4 7¼ pieces, and then 1 by 2 by 10 I cut into 2½ feet each, and then I had also cut couple 4 1-inch pieces 4 feet. I will be using some wood glue as well as some screws and a drill gun and some clamps. I will also going to be painting this, and I would recommend that you pre-drill your wood pieces where your screws are gonna go. This, if you're working by yourself, this will save you a lot of hassle and it will be a lot easier to assemble. So as you see, I have hot glued the feet to the bottom of it, and now I'm going to attach the sides. And this is an area where I recommend that you have maybe pre-drilled the pieces, and I would have even maybe glued the feet on after once you had pre-drilled, screwed those pieces in, and then went from there.
About to leave, already packing, come with me, I'm not really asking, we'll get away to a place where we don't know, about to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions, we'll get away, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out, down with my own doubts. Be free with me. Be free. Be free with me. Be free. Not looking back, eyes on the freeway, Bonnie and Clyde, a classic cliche, we're on the run, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow, we can't miss out.
Now, luckily, the square was cut pretty straight, so I was able to have a very squared off lantern.
I'm done living life with the lights out, down with my own doubts. Be free with me. Be free. Be free with me. Be free.
So I wanted to add a bit of a decorative element here as well. So I'm going to put some on top, and I'm going to do a border on the bottom as well.
Be free with
going to let this dry overnight, and then once it's dry, I'm going to paint it. I went ahead and painted it with some white chalk paint, and then just added a little bit of dry brushing of black paint just to add a bit of an aged look to it. I have used this lantern for all different seasons, decorated with candles, flowers, used it outside and indoors, and I think it looks really, really good. It's such a substantial size that it's a very nice piece to have sitting on the floor. For my next DIY, I had picked up some supplies from Dollar Tree, like the mirror, and then I had all of these clothespins, or they're actually not, they look like clothespins, but I think they're used for making little puppets. I had these on hand from the daycare years, and I had a lot of them, and then I saw a really great idea with them, so I thought I recreated. I will be creating a piece to hang on a wall. This could be, I wouldn't necessarily use a mirror for looking at yourself, because I feel like it's a little bit of a magnifying mirror, so you might see things you don't want to see. But speaking from personal experience, but it is a great wall decor. So for this DIY, you will need some hot glue, and that's it. I will be gluing these little clothespins all around it, creating almost like a sunflower look. This is such an easy DIY to make, and I think it looks absolutely stunning on a wall, or kind of leaning up against a wall on a fireplace, and very inexpensive. And also, if you wanted to go one step ahead, you could add some crazy glue in there as well. I did add some rope in the middle just to kind of cover up the border of the mirror. I do have to clean this up a little bit from all the little hot glue fuzzies, but I just love the way this turned out. This DIY I made several years ago, and it was super easy to do. I picked up these wooden balls or beads at Michael's. I used my 40% coupon to pick them up, and then I had this twine. I think this twine came from Dollar Tree, and I've seen these at the stores ranging from $20 to up and up, $20 and up, and I made them, I think, altogether for under $5. So I was pretty happy with that result, and I've used this in my decor ever since I've made it for almost every single season. So some of the supplies that I recommend to use is a large needle, and you will also need some scissors. You could possibly thread the rope through those holes without a needle, but this should make the job a little bit easier. So I went ahead and threaded all the beads through. I made it as long as I wanted it to be, so the length, it doesn't really matter. You make it as long as you want to. You could also paint them, spray paint the beads, paint them, stain them. I left mine as they are because I wanted to go for that natural look, but you could make one for every different season. I did make one a while back also for my lemon theme, where I did them in yellow and white. And then for the ends, I wanted to create a bit of a tassel. So I just wrapped some rope around the pencil and then I tied it right at the bottom of the pencil. And then I threaded the bottom rope that was left over from threading the beads through. And I tied that around that. And voila, the tassel was created. Very simple. And I think it gave it a nice touch at the end.
Life is a winding road.
For this DIY, I'm using some supplies from the Dollar Tree, some supplies that I had on hand. So I had this board actually left over from my lantern. And then I had these tins that I picked up at Dollar Tree. I think, no, actually it was Dollarama. They came on this little tray, which I actually ended up creating a completely different DIY with it. And then you will also need some sort of a stain or paint, depending on how you want your wood to look. I did stain mine. And then you're gonna need some vinegar because we are going to be aging those tins. And I also used some sandpaper and lots of rags. So I started off with scuffing up the tins so that way they looked a little rough and aged, just different areas. I didn't do it all over. I just did little spots here and there. Once I did it on all three of them, I poured some vinegar in a bowl and soaked a rag in it. And then I wrapped the rag around the little pots and let that sit for a few hours. Did this for all of them. While the little pots were soaking, I just went ahead and cleaned up this wood and ended up staining it. And I'm just using my rag for the stain and moving in the direction of the wood grain. And the stain that I'm using is a gel stain. It's an Old Masters gel stain. I think it's in Spanish oak, and I just had this on hand.
No telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know if I will ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching.
So this stain dries very quickly, and I do rub off most of it off anyways, but I was ready to unwrap my pots, and like I said, left them over for 24 hours, and then I did unwrap them, and here's what they look. I do think that they look pretty aged, kind of like an old galvanized pot. And now I'm going to be attaching them to the wood. Before you hang them on this wood permanently, you do want to space them out evenly. I did end up even measuring it out just to make sure that they are evenly spaced. So once I was happy with their spacing, I used my hot glue to attach them. Again, if you want, you can do both. You can do hot glue and crazy glue or gorilla glue. Hot glue is more of a permanent hold, so you can work with it more of an immediate hold, so you can work with it right away. And then it kind of holds it in place for the gorilla glue or hot glue to or E6000 to have a chance to cure. There's so many possibilities with this. I put a little plants in them, just fake plants. You can hang this up on a wall or again lean it up against something. I just think it looks so cute. Now for my next DIY, I am going to, this is definitely a look for less. I am going to be recreating a lemon tree. Now at the end, I'm going to be sharing with you also just a picture of a pepper tree that I made. Very similar idea, just used different supplies. So for this one, you're going to need some tin. I am using these garden stakes, and then also some moss and some leaves, as well as some lemons. So first things first, I'm going to assemble this stick. I will be using a ton of hot glue for it to set in the galvanized tin, and I'm also going to use some florist foam. This is not the one that you can soak up and then that you need to soak up and let. This is just a styrofoam florist foam. And then I also used some rocks that I had on hand, so that way they would weigh it down, so it wasn't that easily tipped over. And then I proceeded and just stained the stick so it has a more realistic wood look. And then I added some moss to the bottom of it just to complete the pot look. And then I had used some floral wire to attach all the stems for the leaves and branches. And then I will be using a little bit of hot glue there as well, just to keep everything in place. Once I had attached all the branches, I was trying to replicate that picture that I shared at the beginning, so that's how I decided how many branches I'm going to put on. I am cutting some of that crafter's wire to attach the lemons, and because lemons are a bit of, I want to say it's like hard styrofoam, because I don't think that they're like full on plastic. It is a little bit softer, and I can stick that wire inside of them with a little bit of hot glue, so that way I have something that I can attach these lemons with to the branches.
My eyes, you can say I lost my mind. I will keep on holding my head high, even if the sky is falling down. Jumping from cliffs.
I absolutely love with the way this turned out, and I think it's such a great planter to add to your decor, whether that be for the summer or you want that bright, fresh look during the winter months now from January on. Really, you do you decorate the way you want to. I love adding a little bit of color, probably after Valentine's, so this would definitely be something that I'd be adding to my decor. And here is the pepper tree. I did use a bigger pot, and the branches were a lot longer, so I just stuck those in there. I covered it all with moss. This project was definitely an decor upcycle. My daughter had these lamps, and she had kind of outgrew the pink color, but they were such a beautiful shape, and I loved the base of them, so I gave them a little facelift just by painting them with some chalk paint. Now, if this was cloth, I would probably wet the cloth quite a bit, and then use very wet chalk paint to paint it, but these were more of a leather feel. They were smoother, so I just went ahead and painted them. She picked out the color. She wanted to have it in color gray, so that is what I used. But before you paint, you just want to make sure that everything is nice and clean. There's no dust particles, nothing sticky, because that's where the paint is not going to stick. So I love doing projects like these when I can reuse some of my decor that I have on hand without having to go out and spend money. I do a lot of furniture upcycling. I have painted furniture that I have in my home several different times, and I always tend to buy any wood type of furniture like tables, hutches, side tables, chairs, secondhand, because I do find that it's better that I buy it than it goes to the garbage. And fills the landfills. So, and that's the same way I am with trying to upcycle already existing decor that I have, if I can. If not, I will try and pass it on to my mom or my sister or any friends, and if that doesn't work, I do donate them. So the one thing that we found with these, they look absolutely stunning. You want to add a little bit of wax on them so they're just a little bit smoother and the dust doesn't sit on them that easily. But one thing that I have to say, when you turn them on, that pinkish color does come through a little bit. It does not bother us whatsoever, but I just thought I mentioned that. They look otherwise they look stunning on her nightstands. When I made this DIY, I made it as an idea for a quick and easy Christmas gift or a Christmas gathering, a hostess gift if you are heading out to someone's house. I did make it around Christmas. It does not need to be for only Christmas. It can be, like I said, a great hostess gift. So for that, I had this cheese board that I picked up at Dollarama for $4, and then you're going to need several different pens. Like I had these water base pens, for Sharpie water based ones in white and black, and then also I used different types of paint in different colors, and then you also need some painter's tape and different types of brushes. The paint that I used was Rust-Oleum chalk paint in charcoal as well as in linen white, and then I also used some French linen, and that's any Sloan paint. But you don't have to use these paints. You can use any paint you want. And then you're gonna need also, like I mentioned, some painter's tape. So first thing that I did was tape off different sections in different widths.
Trusting our wings to fly. Sometimes we're crashing down, but we get up and start from the ground. And I really wanna know if
So once I had that all nicely sectioned off, I just wrote out what paint goes where.
figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high, even if the sky is falling down.
Now the fun part starts. I'm going to start painting my areas with different paint.
Even if the sky is falling down, yeah. The sky is falling down.
You can remove your painter's tape immediately after you are finished painting everything. That way it will prevent from ripping and pulling the paint with the tape. But I would recommend you wait until it fully dries before you apply any other paint that you might want to apply.
The sky is falling down. Even if the sky is falling down, even if the sky is falling down, yeah. The sky is falling down.
So once everything had dried, I am applying painter's tape again just to keep those crisp lines there instead of trying to make a straight line without the tape.
like you always do.
And now I paint the rest of the area in black. I don't paint it all because some areas I am keeping in the natural wood.
Like you always do. Hold my hand and look me in the eyes so I can tell you how I feel. Tell you how I feel. Every day something new. If I spend it with you, with you, with you. Oh, I want you right now, and I need you right now. You right now.
After I took the painter's tape off, I took my Sharpie and I just wrote, home is where the heart is. I think that's what I wrote, or home sweet home. You'll see what I wrote in 1 second. I did not wait for that black paint to dry because I wasn't writing anything there. Actually, I did write, "It's so good to be home." Now that I had remembered what I wrote here. And I just love this. I think it turned out so nice. And I think this would be a great hostess gift or a gift just to keep for yourself. A DIY to keep for yourself.
My world is spinning round, round, around. Oh, I want you now, now, now. My world is spinning round, round, round. And I want you now, and I want you now, and I want you now. How you move and what you do has made me so crazy about you now. Now we can go anywhere you like and do anything you want.
This DIY, I was using everything that I had on hand, kind of leftover from other DIYs or just supplies that I already had at home. I have purchased these balls for, I don't even remember for what, maybe it was the daycare stuff or I had them, so I wanted to use them up because they were taking up quite a bit of space. So I went ahead and picked up different sizes, and then also you'll need some scissors, hot glue. I am using some jute rope as well as some moss and some burlap that I had pieces cut off of it. What I wanted to create here are just different sizes of decorative ball fillers.
Anything you want, 'cause every day is something new. If I spend.
So I took the moss out of the bag and put it on a baking sheet. I have a baking sheet that I use for a lot of my different craft needs. And if you've worked with moss, you know it gets quite messy. So I wanted to contain the mess. So that's why I put it in there. And then I'm going to use hot glue. Now, some styrofoams you can't use hot glue. This styrofoam didn't seem like it had any issues with it melting, so I was able to use that. So I don't know if there's like a different materials that they use for different styrofoams, but I know that some of them I cannot use the hot glue because it melts it. So I just took that moss and I glued it all around until there was absolutely no empty spaces and none of the white was showing. There is absolutely no rhyme and reason how I am gluing the moss on. I am just covering the ball. And this is such a great thing to add in your vases or on your trays, on your tier trays, or just on a corner of a shelf. I think it's a great thing to fill in space and add some color and texture to it. For the next one, I am going to use the jute rope, and this one was a little bit more involved, and it involved a lot of fingers burning, but you start off with a little glue on top, and that's your starting point, and then you put an end piece onto it. Make sure you don't burn your fingers. Wait till it dries somewhat, and then start gluing jute rope right around the whole ball in circles, like wrapping it around. This was a little bit more involved, but the end result is so worth it.
My world is spinning round, 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 and I want you now, and I want you now. My world is spinning round, round, round. Oh, I want you now, now, now. My world is spinning round, 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 and I want you now, and I want you now, and I want you now.
So for the next one, this is probably my least favorite look, but it still worked and I still use it in my decor. I just attached the little pieces of burlap that I had, and like I glued them all around the ball, and then I just trimmed off any loose ends that there might be. I have also done one sphere where I cut little branches into little 1-inch pieces, and then I glued those branches all over it, and that looked really nice as well. So here it is, just to kind of show you how it looks in a little barn board box, and I think it's a great centerpiece. Like I said, I just stuck all of these together, but you can totally use them separate. So for this one, I am using those vases that you can pick up at Dollar Tree. You can pick them up in all different sizes. I had one that was shorter but wider, and then I had a narrower and taller, and then I had one short, narrow vase. These are $1.50 at Dollar Tree, come in various sizes, and I think they are great. I've seen so many different DIYs made with these. I was looking for a coastal look because I needed some decor for my bathroom, and that was the angle that I was going with, a more of a farmhouse coastal look. So since I had lots of jute rope left over from previous crafts, I used that, and again, this is such an easy and inexpensive DIY that you can make, and you can just like I said, I've seen it done so many different ways. You can tape it up and paint it, kind of like I did the cheese board with different widths of tape and different colors of paint. And then you can also, I have also wrapped it up with some wood. I've done that. Like I said, it's just so many different ways that you can create with these vases. For, like I said, for this one, I'm going with the coastal look, so I will be wrapping some jute rope just on the bottom of the vases and using a hot glue to do it. Super easy and super inexpensive and a quick DIY. I just think this elevated their look. They no longer look boring. They have a little bit of spunk to them. This DIY was a trash to treasure makeover. I had picked up or thrifted upcycle. I had picked up these candelabras at our local thrift store. They weren't necessarily the color that I would use in my home decor, but because they were all crackled and just I don't think the camera really gives it the color that they were, but I wanted to give them a bit of a new look, something more that would work with my decor. I love buying candelabras at the thrift store because you can always spray paint them, wrap them with jute rope, whatever it is that you want to do with them. And they are typically inexpensive, a lot less than you would buy them at the store. So I painted mine with some, I forget what color this is, but it was a beigeish brown paint. And then I had used actually some antiquing wax to put on them. And that gave them a completely different look, I think. And all the little crevices that they had and all the little designs, the antiquing rope really accented that. The original color of them was almost like greenish, which it's not really showing that well on the camera. When I was applying the antiquing wax, I just applied it in all different areas, and then I went ahead and took a rag and just rubbed everything off. This is also a last DIY that I am sharing with you. I hope you guys have enjoyed these quick and easy home decor DIYs that you can obviously decorate your home with. They're inexpensive, easy to make, and I'm sure would look good in any type of decor style. If you have enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed. And I will see you all in my next video. Thank you so much for watching.